and welcome to Open, the show opening the Bronx and the rest of the world to you. I'm Brittany Albane, covering for Darren Jaime, and today we'll update you on what's happening in and around our borough and New York City. Coming up, we'll delve into recent data that highlights the gap between parental perceptions of their child's achievement and the actual reality. Next, we'll explore how one college is supporting student veterans, providing them with the tools they need to succeed. After that, we'll discuss the anticipated return of in-store holiday shopping this season. We'll have more details later on in the show. Then we'll discuss how food bundles are helping people streamline their Thanksgiving celebration. Finally, we'll learn about an annual Thanksgiving tradition, blending competitive football with endearing friendships. So stay tuned, all this and much more is headed your way because we're now officially open. Hey everyone, I'm Brittany Albane, and you are now watching Open, a live program bringing the Bronx and New York City straight to you. We also want to welcome our viewers to the Manhattan Neighborhood Network, as Open is being broadcast simultaneously on MNN's channels. You can stay connected to us on all social media platforms at BronxNet TV. Some things have been going on throughout the past week, and we'll take you through it with some Bronx updates. We're starting with community news. The FBI agent seized New York City Mayor Eric Adams' phones and iPad as a part of an investigation into his campaign fundraising. Federal authorities are conducting an investigation into whether his 2021 mayoral campaign conspired with a Brooklyn construction company and the Turkish government to funnel foreign money into the campaign through a straw donor scheme. The mayor promptly complied with the FBI's request, providing them with 2 iPhones and an iPad. Mayor Adams expressed unawareness of the campaign team's wrongdoing and denies personal knowledge of improper fundraising and asserts cooperation. In other news, an annual fete recently showcased award-winning string musicians of color. Our BronxNet reporter Chanel Thompson has the story.
We are here at the Bronx Brewery and Empanology for the 7th annual Ode to Black Fiddler Music Festival. This is a festival celebrating professional musicians and string quartets of color, showcasing their talents and giving you a performance of a lifetime.
This free all-day event happened at the Bronx Brewery, highlighting professional string musicians of color, acquainting the community with spectacular artists, and encouraging the youth to learn more about string instruments. Founder and CEO Imani Abdul Hamid tells us about this beautiful event.
Our 7th year showcasing professional award-winning string musicians of color here in the Bronx. As I told you, I'm a Bronx native, so it means a lot to me to bring this program to my community. As we talk, this is not an area that we have a lot of showcases like this, so I'm very happy to be able to put this on for a place that is my home as well. I still live here.
Ode to the Black Fiddler had a number of featured artists like Nebulous Quartet, a string quartet bringing their own diversity with musical background and identity, producing harmonious and captivating music. The Black Fiddler has 5 main goals in mind. 1, to bring concert hall performances to low-income neighborhoods. 2, to create a free, accessible space for the community to engage in performing arts and healthy lifestyle choices. 3, to provide an inclusive and equitable platform for professional string musicians of color. 4, to educate the public about the cultural relevance of string music in communities of color. and the historical involvement and mastery of string musicians from the diaspora. And 5, to strengthen and support the local economy by supporting entrepreneur vendors and small Black, Indigenous, people of color businesses. Host and artist Aaliyah Pierre tells us about her experience at this year's event and her many talents.
This has been a blast. I was here last year. Last year was my first year, but I know, as you said, it's been 7 years. It's just a lot of amazing talent who people might not know about, but this exposure is getting them the exposure that they need. It's been an amazing time. Artists are usually very vulnerable when we're creating and when we're sharing our work with you guys, so take it with a grain of salt.
To learn more about any upcoming events from the Ode to Black Fiddler Festival, you can visit their website at www.iahstudio.com. Reporting for BronxNet, Chanel Thompson.
Thanks, Chanel. That's all for the Bronx updates. We have to take a quick break, but we'll have more open when we return.
Only 57% of New York City high school students are college ready by their senior year. "55% of high school graduates either have no plans to attend college or are uncertain that they will ever attend. "34% of young adults don't go to college because they can't afford it. Discover what's possible. BronxNet's education programs, internships, and opportunities help engage and inspire Bronx youth and beyond to pursue their passions. Be a part of the BronxNet family. Whether you're interested in our shows, joining a class, or donating to support our mission, visit bronxnet.org to learn more.
Welcome back. The Office of Veteran and Military Resources at Bronx Community College supports enrolled veterans, current service members, and their dependents from application to graduation. They not only connect student veterans with peers and the broader veteran community, but also assist in their integration with the wider student and civilian population to foster success throughout their academic journey. Here to tell us more is the coordinator of Veterans and Military Resources Office at Bronx Community College, John Rosa. John, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So to start off, let's talk about it. Can you provide an overview of the services that the Office of Veteran and Military Resources offers to their veterans, current service members, and dependents at BCC?
Sure, we help them from the beginning, from admissions. We have a good relationship with the admissions office. So once a veteran applies through the application process, they self-identify on the application, and then we receive that information from the admissions office. At that point, we reach out to the veterans, letting them know that we can help them with the completion of the application, transcript requests, financial aid, and also the benefits that they have available to them through the VA, which could be Chapter 33, what we call the GI Bill, or it could be Chapter 31, which is vocational rehab, tutoring, all the different services. We have a lounge on campus, so that's where all the veterans come in and have lunch. We have a refrigerator, we have computers, we have a coffee maker. So that's where they, hang out and talk about the good old days when they were back in the military.
Mm-hmm. Now, the VMR, you guys see these students through from application to graduation, which
Correct.
is the whole 9 yards, the whole process. Can you tell us a little bit about how so?
Well, I try to see each individual on a one-to-one basis, so I am the academic advisor for all the student veterans. So in that process, not only do I advise them on what courses they need to take, but we also talk about what majors we have at the college. And with that conversation, then other things start coming up that may be personal to the students, whether it's because they have food insecurity, they may be homeless. Some of them have some issues that they're dealing with the VA, medical issues. And so all those things help me help them find out how long it's going to take to graduate, because sometimes it may take a little longer than 2 years. What professors are the best professors for them, online courses, the modalities basically, because we are now, after COVID, now we're offering a lot of online courses. It may be good from some students, it may be bad for other students. It depends on the individual. I tend to believe that it's better to come in person also, because you have more of an interaction with the professor. So all those things come out on that one-to-one, and then that's when we get tutoring for them. We get them to go to the food pantry, which is on campus. We have personal counseling also available on campus. We have a child center, because some of our veterans have children that could go to the child center on campus. So there's a variety of different things that are basically spoken about, and then we try to accommodate or meet them where their needs are.
You know, I think that's so important, because when it comes to college, whether it's 2-year university, 4-year university, you're stuck in this huge pool of students, and sometimes it's not always easy to get the resources and the help that you need, whether that be academic, personal, emotional. So I do think it's important to kind of have like these smaller groups where you are able to pair people one-on-one. So with that, let's talk a little bit about how does the program integrate with students' college degree programs and lead to a commission as an Army officer?
Well, we have a relationship with the ROTC program at City College. And the ROTC program, basically, there are 2 campuses where they go to basically drill or PT. And that's at City College, which is closer to us, or at York College, which is closer probably to the Queens colleges. And so the student could be a student at BCC, a student veteran, but they also go to PT at City College, and they also go through military training, a course that they have there. And then in that process, for the first 2 years, they are being reviewed by the ROTC program. And by the end of the 2nd year, beginning of the 3rd year, is when they're offered a contract to actually enroll and be part of the ROTC program. At that point, they are then therefore required to do 6 years after they leave their 4-year program, which probably would be once they transfer from Bronx Community College, they'll go to City College most likely, and then they'll finish their 2 years there, and then they have 6 years to go in the military.
And so also, the VMR assists with processing various veteran-specific educational benefits. So let's talk a little bit about the significance of the programs like the Post 9/11 GI Bill and vocational rehabilitation in supporting veterans' education.
So right now it's the Forever GI Bill, and the Forever GI Bill is the current GI Bill. Before was the Post 9/11. The difference, the main difference is that in the past you had about 15 years from the time of leaving the military to use your benefits. Now it lasts forever, so now it's called the Forever GI Bill. So we first of all request what's called a COE, a Certificate of Eligibility for Benefits, and that's given to the veteran by the Veterans Administration, and that's how we as a college know how many months they have available to them moving forward so that they could use those benefits to graduate. That's one benefit. And the VOC Rehab, which is Chapter 31, is based on their disability that has been identified based on their service. So they apply for that through the website, the VA website, which is va.gov, and it's a little bit of a process, but and we help them also with that process. I've gotten a few veterans to apply, and they have gotten the benefit. Usually it's after they use up their Chapter 33 or the Forever GI Bill. Usually they want you to have it, they say technically 1 day before you expire, but I usually tell them to apply 6 months before, because the process is different for every individual. So we don't want them to miss out on the possibility of getting their Chapter 31. And then it's a one-to-one counselor that is the one that really advises the veteran on what career path or educational path they should take based on their disability. So, for example, I had a student who had a disability where he was not allowed to become a nursing student because he had a problem standing up for a very long time. And so then therefore he was required to change his major. Now he's a not a nursing major, but he's a social worker at, I think, at NYU, or yeah, I think it's NYU. And then we keep in contact with him. As a matter of fact, he called me up, and now he's in a special program, and now he's in contact with the VA. So we keep good relationships with our veterans even after they graduate and they come back and they want to help us at our office to help further the program.
I think that's so important. And something else that I want to talk about is, how does CUNY through the VMR support students who are called away to duty during their college career? What measures are in place for a seamless transition back to their studies?
So usually, currently right now, the group that's being requested to go active are the National Guard by and far. I have a lot of experience with that. And normally they get their orders, and it lets us understand how long they're going to be away. And then there's a conversation usually between me and the veteran, the student veteran. And then we ask whether they think that they could do online work and communicate that information to the professor. And some professors would be okay with it, and so the veteran can complete the rest of the semester online if they have access to the internet and a computer based on where they're assigned to go to. Sometimes that's not possible because they're working very, very long hours. It could be 18 hours a day, and so they're kind of tired, and the rest of the time that they want to, sleep or something like that. So in those cases, depending on at what point of the semester they're leaving for active duty, it could be that the professor will give them an incomplete or might give them a actual letter grade. It all depends. It really varies, but we try to work with the veterans so that they don't lose time and not have to repeat the semester because of this situation.
100%. I think that's so important. And to wrap up, John, I just want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
For more information, you can visit the website at bcc.cuny.edu. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Open right after this. Welcome back. Recently, Gallup partnered with Learning Heroes to release new data highlighting a notable gap between parental perceptions of their child's performance and the actual reality. While parents play a vital role in their children's education, they may not always possess the complete information necessary to foster their child's academic achievements. Joining us is the Learning Heroes Advisory Board Chair and Executive Director of the Gettysburg Institute at Gettysburg College, Tracy Potts. Tracy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, Brittany, it's great. It's always good to have a chance to talk about these things.
So let's get into it, right? The study mentions a significant gap between parent perceptions of their child's achievement and the reality. So could you elaborate on some of these key findings that highlight this disconnect?
Yeah, I'm happy to. So, Learning Heroes has been studying this for years. We've now partnered with Gallup, and we have seen that there is, as you said, a really big gap between how parents think their kids are doing in school and what the data actually shows. Nationally, 90% of parents tell us they think their kids are doing okay. There's a good reason for that. They're looking at report card grades where 80% of kids or more are getting B's, A's and B's, or B's are better. But the reality, based on the actual test data, based on achievement data that we have, is that in some cases, as few as 10% of students, no more than 50% of students are actually reading and doing math on grade level. It averages to around 30%. So that's a big difference with 30% of kids achieving, but 90% of parents thinking that they are. The problem is parents just are not getting enough information. And the point of our campaign, Go Beyond Grades, is to do just that, to encourage parents to go beyond the grades to seek more specific information about their children's achievement.
And with that, you guys recognize that parents play a crucial role in their children's learning. So, how does this partnership aim to empower with the necessary resources and information to support their child's academic success?
Sure. I love that you use the word empower because that's exactly the way that we at Learning Heroes see this. Parents need to be empowered with information and empowered to act, empowered to get involved. So, what we do is teach parents, first of all, and families, because sometimes we have grandparents and others who are raising kids, but we're teaching families how to ask the right questions. And the key question that you need to reach out and ask your child's teacher is my child on grade level? Not how's my kid doing, not their grade seem okay, or are they doing okay in class? All of those things are important, but they don't necessarily reflect whether my child is on grade level. So that's the beginning. And then we connect parents and families with resources. So what do you do when you realize, wait a minute, my third grader is reading on a first grade level? They're getting B's because they work really hard and they turn in their homework, but I want them to be reading on grade level or doing math, for example, on grade level. What do I do? At that point, we connect you with resources, first of all, to learn what the standards are for your child's grade level, and then to connect to resources like tutoring, like online learning. There are a lot of things that are free. There are a lot of things that are low cost that families, parents can take advantage of to help their kids get where they need to be.
I think that's so important because, like you mentioned, when it comes to grades, like that overall grade, it's not always the content that you're learning. And I can say that because personally, I don't think I ever did math on grade level my entire life. But I did the homework and I put in the effort. And so with that, I did get, B's, maybe sometimes C's, but I was not doing math on grade level.
Yeah.
So with that, the press release also emphasizes the importance of considering multiple data points to determine if a student is meeting grade level expectations. So could you provide some examples of these data points and how they contribute to understanding a child's academic achievement?
Yeah, certainly. So we want to look at things like certainly standardized tests we're very familiar with, but they're standardized tests that are state mandated within the district. And then there's testing that happens within the classroom. That's different. Those tests are performed differently. There's a different level of preparation for them. Tests that are developed by the teacher who has taught the content versus a standardized test developed by someone outside of the classroom. Projects. Some kids, I had a kid like this who is a project-based learner. Lots of people have test anxiety, but they can tell you, spend an hour telling you what they know. They just can't always perform it on a test. So what about projects and classroom assignments and those other things that contribute to the grades? We're certainly not saying those things are not important. A motivated child will participate in class. That's important. Doing your homework is important because it's the process, it's part of the process of learning. So all of these things are things that parents need to know. They don't speak specifically to whether the child is on grade level, but they all give us different pieces of information, different points of information that, along with the teacher, help us understand where our child is. There is nothing that can replace the parent-teacher relationship. And that's really a big part of this campaign. I'm starting to ask that question is just the beginning of building a relationship that will support the child's learning.
As you mentioned, the parent-teacher relationship is so important. But with that, what are some challenges that parents may face when, discussing their children's academic performance, and how could that impact them in the assistance they give to their child?
Good point. So, one of the challenges we face as parents is, what was my own educational journey like? Some of us just start shaking when we drive by a school, right? It didn't go so well. But we really have to think through, okay, this is my child, this is a different situation. But we really do have to honestly address, there are reasons sometimes why we don't want to get so involved in education. There are cultural reasons. As a parent leader, one of the things that I saw very often in my community is we have cultural norms. In some cultures, the school does its thing, the families do its thing, and they do not connect. And so sending home notices and talking about family engagement just does not compute. If my entire life, my culture has said, you take care of home, let the teachers take care of school. So we have to address and listen and learn about these cultural barriers to family engagement, so we'll know how to deal with them. The other thing is, how are we offering opportunities for families to be engaged, right? I was a longtime leader, local and national leader in PTA. And one of the things that we often talked about was the 7 o'clock PTA meeting or parent group meeting just does not work for everybody, right? If you work second shift or if you work overnight like I used to, that may not be a convenient time. So are we being equitable and varying the ways that we're inviting parents into this process and families into this process?
I like that you mentioned the accessibility and the work that you guys are doing to make sure that, that the fostering of the parent-teacher relationship is sustainable. So I think that was also a great point to kind of end off this conversation. So Tracy, with that, I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much, Brittany.
For more information, you can visit their website at bealearninghero.org and follow them on social media at Be a Learning Hero. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Open right after this.
30 years of BronxNet, 4 years of Modern Odyssey. Broadcasting stories that may inspire you, untold or underreported stories. BronxNet, your story is heard. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching Modern Odyssey on BronxNet.
Welcome back. Holiday shoppers are preparing for Black Friday deals, and this year there's a notable shift toward in-person shopping. The latest Cotton's Lifestyle Monitor survey reveals that 67% of shoppers intend to visit stores, a significant rise from the 56% in 2021. Joining us for more information is the manager of market insights at Cotton Incorporated, Catherine Bruce. Catherine, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
So I am so excited to get into this. I'm also very interested in the whole coming back in person thing. But just to start off, what were some of the most surprising results of this year's Lifestyle Monitor survey?
Yeah, so, as you mentioned, going back into stores, we went down 56% went into stores in 2021. That was even lower in 2020 during the height of the pandemic. This year, we see back in force as consumers they find that value of in-store shopping, the collective experience, the holiday sounds and sights, and it really gets them in the mood for the holidays and this part of, celebrating this great season.
100%. And I kind of want to ask, could this somehow be because, before COVID, from what I, just from personal experience, prior to COVID, everybody, including myself, was like, you know what, I'm going to stick to online shopping. I'm not going to get online. And then COVID came in, we kind of couldn't do it anymore. We had that taken away. And one of those, once you can't do something, you miss it. So could that be one of the reasons why we're seeing this increase?
Right. Be careful what you wish for, and so, consumers, the pandemic really gave us a chance to learn about online shopping, folks who had never tried it before or who were already doing it. And then we think, you know what, we'd like the choice. We'd like to be able to go in store, maybe use our phones to check deals, maybe research ahead of time. So we see consumers using both modes, but we see a real value in shopping in stores that consumers are rediscovering after being cooped up for so many years.
So with that, how has the landscape of Black Friday shopping changed compared to the previous year, and what factors are contributing to this shift?
Yeah, so inflation is on consumers' minds. Yet again, 63% say that inflation will affect their holiday shopping. At the same time, though, the amount they're budgeting to spend is way up to $914 that consumers say they're planning to spend this year, even with inflation concerns. So that's where the Black Friday deals, Cyber Monday, consumers looking for days when they can stretch their dollars and get all of those wonderful things on their gift lists.
So you mentioned the budget of around $914, right? So the survey does suggest that shoppers plan to spend, like you said, on average $900 on gifts. So what are the key drivers behind this spending trend, and are there specific areas where consumers are allocating more of their budget?
Yeah, so, consumers, economy doing a bit better, inflation less of a concern, even if as it's on consumers' mind. And so we just see this resurgence of wanting to give great gifts to the people on your list. And one thing that really is topping that list is clothes, followed by gift cards and electronics, as we see consumers wanting to give their loved ones comfortable cotton clothing that's going to make them feel good all year round.
And earlier you mentioned a little bit about inflation. So is there maybe a way that this is influencing shopping behavior this season, or?
Yeah, so, while 18% of consumers say they're following a stricter budget than previous years, one of the main effects we see is consumers being purposeful and smart about their shopping. So whereas maybe before the pandemic, you would just head into stores and say, what should I get? This year, consumers have researched online. They've found maybe tagged some of their favorite things on social media, decided where to go, know where the deals are. So you're going to get informed consumers going in and using all the tools at their disposals to get all the right gifts for their loved ones.
And also, let's talk a little bit about the retailer side of things. So given the insights from the survey, how can retailers leverage this information to enhance the shopping experience and address consumer concerns during the holiday season?
Yeah, so, consumers are looking for those great products. They have so many options these days to find what they're looking for, that one thing retailers can do is make sure that they're stocking those things they're looking for. And from our research, a lot of that is comfortable cotton clothing, cotton blankets, things that help consumers feel better. And they tell us that wearing comfortable clothing helps them feel better with such a tumultuous time in the world. And so for retailers, really working together with consumers by providing those items that are going to last and then are going to, bring the joy they're hoping to spread this holiday season.
I really like that you mentioned that when you're comfy during tough times, somehow it just makes everything work. If I'm going through a rough patch, I'm like, I just know it's me and my pink sweatpants against the world. So with that,
Exactly.
right. So with that, in the context of ongoing economic challenges and supply chain issues, how are consumers adapting their shopping strategies, and what can retailers do to meet customer expectations?
Yeah, so we see consumers, looking for deals, knowing where those are, and planning out their shopping in ways they may not have done in the past. And so retailers have been great. I was just shopping the other day and saw early Black Friday sales on some things I needed, and I thought, you know what, now's the best time to buy those new shoes I've been wanting. So that message looks to be getting out to consumers about what is available. And we know that consumers are looking for the messages as well. So we see a lot of coherence right now between both what retailers are doing and what shoppers are looking for.
And, you know, we have about a minute left in this segment, but I think it is so important to talk about it because I have yet to start my shopping list. What are some gifts that are trending this holiday season?
Yeah, so clothes are at the top, you know, both of what consumers say they're going to buy and what they'd like to receive. 68% say that they like to receive clothing as a gift, and cotton-rich t-shirts and jeans top the list. I think most of us have at least one, maybe a lot more of those gifts we've gotten in the past. You put on a shirt, it reminds you of the person who gave it to you or the time you had. And so you're giving that emotional experience, the comfort. Those things really are topping consumers' lists and both what they want to get and what they want to give.
And just as we wrap up, Catherine, can you tell us where can we go to learn more?
Yeah, so the fabric of our lives.com/shop cotton has loads of great cotton gift ideas.
Awesome, Catherine. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
For more information, you can visit their website at cottoninc.com. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Open right after this.
19.7% of Bronxites currently experience food insecurity. Meanwhile, instead of these nice, colorful foods, this is the best food that they have access to. If this sounds like you, there are a bunch of resources to get healthy food for free or cheap. If you want to help, you might consider donating or volunteering in one of these places. Community fridges like this one are all over the city and allow New Yorkers to conveniently donate extra food to people who might need it. Go to this link and find your nearest one. Food banks and pop-up events like these provide millions of healthy meals to families in need. These organizations are distributing meals to Bronxites as we speak and are always accepting donations and volunteers.
Welcome back. Feeling the stress of hosting a Friendsgiving or a big family Thanksgiving feast? Eliminate the hassle of multiple store runs by turning to Fresh Direct, your ultimate destination for a stress-free holiday menu. Take advantage of their advanced ordering option to secure a chef-prepared Thanksgiving meal that'll be ready when you need it. Joining us to tell us more is the Director of Merchandising for Prepared Foods, Gravita Trupavana. Gravita, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So can you tell us a little bit more about Fresh Direct's Thanksgiving offerings and how they're designed to ease the pressure of hosting a Friendsgiving or family feast?
Yes, definitely. So a lot of our customers come to Fresh Direct for our farm to customer model, and it truly is unmatched in the industry. And what I think a lot of people don't know is that our prepared foods line is no different. So we offer the best quality ingredients in the prepared foods line that we make, and that's what we're offering for this Thanksgiving.
You know, so what sets Fresh Direct's chef-prepared Thanksgiving feast apart from other options that may be available on the market?
Yeah, so we are offering our best sellers. We have listened to our customers year after year, and we know that they trust us with their holiday spread. So we are bringing back those classic Thanksgiving staples that everyone loves, and then pairing that with pricing that is probably the best that we've offered year over year, and then pairing that with some new sides. So in addition to the uncooked turkeys that you can get and the local fresh produce that you can get through Fresh Direct, if you want to create your own feast, we also offer prepared solutions that just make it really easy for this time of year. So If you don't want to prepare your own turkey, it's a lot of work, then come to us. We have a roast turkey that you just need to reheat in the oven. We have those prepared sides, your classic mashed potatoes, your fresh green beans, but also some new sides that, again, just need to reheat. And we offer those in a variety of different sizes for however small or big your gathering is this year.
And so, what are some of the highlights of the culinary expertise that goes into crafting these meals?
Oh, yeah. So, honestly, the biggest secret I think that we have is to keep it simple. Like I said, we use the best quality local produce in our meals, and so we really just let those speak for themselves. But I wanted to highlight some new sides that we're offering that, again, if you're feeling a little bored of your Thanksgiving spread, or maybe if you have some vegetarians that you want to kind of mix things up for, then some of our new sides would be right up your alley. We have a new butternut squash. We have a new braised carrot and Tokyo turnip dish that is really delicious. It's got this kind of savory braising liquid that kind of glazes the carrots and the turnips. We've got broccoli with this kind of walnut crumble. So something familiar, but again, just something a little bit different. And then some grilled vegetables with this lemony oregano sauce to go along with it. And I think that one I'm looking forward to. I think the day after Thanksgiving sandwiches, I'm going to add those grilled veggies on mine.
I think that's such a fun twist on a lot of the sides that we see at Thanksgiving. And like you said, it kind of gives us something to spruce up, add something new for, every year. So you're kind of not stuck with the same old every year. But also, you kind of mentioned that simplicity is key. So can we talk a little bit about how Fresh Direct simplifies the holiday preparation process by being the one-stop shop for your Thanksgiving needs?
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of customers take advantage of our advanced order options. So this is a great option where you can just guarantee your delivery date for whenever you need your prepared meals or your turkey to come in, and you can kind of get all of that planning out of the way. So we do advance order for all of our major holidays, and we really feel like it's a great convenience for the customer. In addition to that, we also are prioritizing a lot of our Thanksgiving items to bring them an express delivery option for the customer. So, hours leading up to Thanksgiving, say you have some invited or uninvited guests coming over, and you need an extra, turkey breast to have on hand, or say you forgot to set the alarm and, the pie is a little too dark in the oven. We have a lot of our staples and those Thanksgiving last minute needs available for our express delivery that you can just get in under 2 hours. So that I'm really excited about, and I hope customers take advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the viewers who might be interested, we know that your reservation process is very straightforward. So can you walk us through that?
Yeah, so for all of our advanced orders, if you place a meal or a turkey, then you can simply go in, add it to your cart along with all of your other sides, desserts, your wine, maybe your cheese spread, and then you can check out, simply select your date and your time window, and then it gets delivered, and you're really all set.
And so I kind of want to go back to what you mentioned about, if you have an uninvited guest, if you might have burnt something or, missed out on some ingredients, Fresh Direct offers express locations. So could you share more about this and how it helps customers, who might have gotten themselves in a little bit of a situation?
Yeah. So as many of you know, Fresh Direct is located in the Bronx, but we have a couple locations that we really stock heavily with our favorite Thanksgiving items around this year. And those are for the customers to take advantage of, again, those hours leading up to Thanksgiving, that maybe you're scrambling for last minute, or for those maybe that, didn't necessarily plan a big meal. But this is great where you can really just shop on our site as normal. And then when you get to checkout, you'll be able to see those items that are available for just, within that same day period, which is great.
Now, you mentioned that you can buy maybe single items or buy things to put together a whole meal, but let's talk about the Thanksgiving bundle specifically. What makes the Lancaster Farm Fresh Cooperative Organic Thanksgiving Dinner Farm Share Box unique, and what's included in it?
Yeah, this is a great option, and I'm really excited about this. Again, Fresh Direct is known for our relationships with our farms, and the Lancaster Farm Fresh Co-op is one of our really strongest relationships. And so this box is exclusive to Fresh Direct. You get an organic turkey, you get organic produce in here. So this is a great option for kind of a smaller Thanksgiving gathering that you want to prepare on your own. So you're getting that turkey, and then you're getting items to make a few different vegetable sides. But again, you could leave it really simple for this because the produce is so delicious, it's going to speak for itself.
Gravita, I think this is something that is so important. I think, sometimes it is, listen, doing Thanksgiving every single year as a spectator of watching somebody else do it, I can only imagine the stress it go, you're making your main dish, which is either your turkey or your pernil, and then you have your sides. So like you say, your potatoes, sometimes your rice, whatever that is. And so some years you just want to take the year off. So I think this is so important. I think what Fresh Direct is doing is really cool and really just another way to kind of spice up your holiday season. So with that, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, and have a great Thanksgiving, and looking forward to seeing everyone shop with us for the next holidays.
Happy Thanksgiving to you too.
Thank you.
For more information, you can visit their website at freshdirect.com and follow them on social media at FreshDirect. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Open right after this. Welcome back. Friendships endure even as times change. A quarter century ago, the Riverdale Press featured childhood friends from Van Cortlandt Village and Kingsbridge Heights in the 25th Turkey Bowl game. Remarkably, they're gearing up for their 50th Turkey Bowl at Harris Field. Joining us to tell us more are the members of the Bronx Boys, Barry Keston and Nate Shangler. Thank you both so much for joining me.
Thank you, Brittany.
Thank you. I feel like I got to address the elephant or the room, or should I say the trophy on the table. Is this the Turkey Bowl trophy? Is this what you get after, you win every year? Tell me about it.
So originally it was in the beginning when we were younger, a little more competitive. We introduced the MVP trophy. We played hard, but we kid around a lot. We have a lot of fun. And we introduced the MVP trophy to whoever played best that day. And we did it for a number of years, and after a while, we realized we're done with the MVP. It's more about the friendships, and we stopped competing for a trophy. It was more about the friendships.
And these are some of like the shirts you guys had, or tell me about that.
Yeah, these are all the shirts we've had over the years, signifying different things. This is a Bronx Boy 40th T-shirt. We were all basically on the DeWitt Clinton math team, most of us, so they have there. This was our Bronx Boys softball team, which we had, and I just wanted to mention we stopped giving out the trophy because I was winning every year, so they said that's it, enough.
Listen, I get it. Sometimes I'm like, you know what? We don't need it anymore. But let's back up a little bit. And so can you take us through the journey of the Turkey Bowl from its inception 50 years ago to present day?
Sure. So what started as a game of football really morphed into a game of life. We grew up together. We've known each other 50, 60 years. We went to school together. Many of us went to PS 95. John Tate taught 143, 141 also. DeWitt Clinton, Bronx Science, Horace Mann, all Bronx schools. And we stayed close friends, and maybe 25 of us, more if you had a lot of our female friends as well. And we stayed close over the years. And in 1974, when we graduated high school, Nate was the one who came up there, let's play, football for Thanksgiving. We'll all come back to our families for Thanksgiving. And that's the first time we actually started playing the game.
Yeah, we played on the weekend of Thanksgiving because I guess Thanksgiving was set aside for the family, and every year we played and we went out. We had roasts and stuff like that, and it was one thing it did. Over the past 50 years, it kept us connected as friends. But not only that, it kept us connected in the Bronx because many of us now live outside of the Bronx. But it was a great connection.
So 50 years this year. Tell me, how does that feel?
Feels older, for one thing. It's part of the journey. We started off simply playing football, the 18-year-old guys playing football. Over the years, as Nate mentioned, we'd play the game in the morning. We'd go to the Riverdale Diner for lunch. And then, maybe 5, 10 years into it, if we had girlfriends or significant others, we went and had dinner that night. So our wives and girlfriends became friends with each other. So the routine continued: football in the morning, grab somewhere for lunch, and the night go out for dinner. And the dinner, as mentioned, was having dinner, but also roasting and toasting. We'll make fun of each other. Nate said he won the MVP so many times. It's not true. It's probably just once. But that's the type of kidding that we constantly did with each other. So over the years, we've grown really close. Our wives have grown close. Our kids started to play. My son Jason was the first one playing. When he turned 18 and he turned 12, he joined us. So now when we play, we've slowed down, but our kids play the game now. The kids come to dinner. We have maybe 50, 60 people joining us for dinner this Saturday night. So it's become more a family and tradition, and the game is just a smaller part, but it's a meaningful part of it.
You guys talk a little bit about how things like locations and other, players' locations, how things have evolved over the last 50 years. So are there any aspects of the game that might have changed over time as well?
Not many aspects. I think the fact that I always came late to the game, that never changed. And we still go and we go out and eat in Bronx. We try in Bronx locations, and we, So the only aspect is we've slowed down, we've gotten old, but the good thing is our kids are now playing and carrying on the tradition. So again, it's a little tougher to play, like you mentioned, 50 years. It's tough to play, get a lot of aches, but at least our kids are playing, and it makes it, keeps the tradition going, and we're happy about that.
So you're the one who showed up 45 minutes after the 9 a.m. call time, huh?
Well, yeah.
Thank you.
It wasn't all my fault because Barry usually gets to the field early to set up the field, and then he makes up the time. He asks me, what time you want to play? I say 10. He says, okay, we're starting at 9. So, I always end up being late because I can't get there at 9 o'clock.
It is early. It is early. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes they tell me 8 o'clock here, and I'm like, really? 8 o'clock? But, you know, with that, you know, you guys have kind of mentioned the Turkey Bowl is more than just an actual game itself. So can you elaborate on how the tradition has strengthened within the community, and not only the players, but, you know, your families as well? Just a little bit more about that.
To me, it's mostly about the kids. You know, they see the way we've grown up. We're a close group of friends. We've become family. Our kids know each other now. They're family as well. And to see the traditions we have and what we've continued over the years, they all look forward to coming. You know, for dinner and for the game, we'll have about 20 of our kids in total coming. So it's nice to see the family aspect of that we're passing that on, what friends can mean, and you know, and being together.
Yeah. Well, Barry mentioned it's really life, you know, and it's just a great thing to be able to still be friends with people you knew 50 years ago. I mean, there's nothing more important than you know, having friends that you grew up with and stay friends with them, and we experience each other's you know, celebrations, and you know, sometimes there's some hard times, but at least we experience it together, and it's been a great run, and we hope it continues. Yeah.
And so, you know, you talked a little bit about how when you guys go to dinner, there's some roasting, there's some toasting. So, you know, tell me a little bit about the post-game dynamics. Or is anybody there like, well, you know, you did something that you weren't supposed to. What are those post-game dynamics like?
Well, don't do anything wrong that day, and don't do anything wrong in the months leading to that, because whatever it is, nothing is off limits. Everything will be brought up. Everything will be commented upon. Nate's lateness is always part of it. Nate always lies about how many games the CUNY teams won versus the SUNY teams. So usually there's arguments and discussions on that.
Yeah, we make fun of everybody. You know, we have a roast, and basically we start making fun of everybody that was at the game that year, and it's all in fun. There's some truth to it. You know, we have some friends who no matter what happens when we play, somehow they get injured, and so they can't play. So we make a lot of fun of people, but it's all in good fun.
And so, you know, just as we wrap up, we have a minute left. Just tell me, you know, what is your advice to a young group of friends kind of like that? What is your advice to kind of help people maintain friendships? Because it's not something that's easy, you know? So what is your advice on that?
Yeah, don't take it for granted. You know, friends can be just a matter of convenience. If you live close to each other, it's easy to be friends. Most of us are in the tri-state area, but we're not necessarily close. We could be an hour, 2 hours away. So you have to make the effort. You have to organize something. And something like the Turkey Bowl was one way that we know at least once a year, all of us are together. And what that led to is during the summer, we'd have picnics, we'll go to somebody's house, we'll go swimming. So I would say, you know, you don't choose your friends, but pick the friends you want to be lifetime friends with and make efforts.
Yeah, and I think it's important, you know, life can be crazy, and you could lose track of things. But if you have a connection, you know, with your friends, and you keep making connections that will make you get together all the time, like, you know, one time we also had season tickets for the Knicks. So we kept, you know, there was some kind of connection, aside from our everyday crazy life that was going on, that kept us together. And I think that's really the most important thing, because there's nothing better than having friends, you know, for over 50 years, people you can count on, talk to, and, you know, give you advice on all things that you need. So it's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, I want to thank you both for joining us today, and congratulations on 50 years.
Thank you very much.
All right. And this year, they'll probably lose again. So.
So with that, we've come to the end of our show today. I'd like to thank all of our guests for joining, and you, the viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the Recable cast on Optimum Channel 67, Verizon Fios 2133, or watch anytime on the web at bronxnet.org. You can catch a brand new episode of Open with Rena Valentine on Friday. This wraps up this episode for us. I'm Brittany Albane. Make sure to keep this channel wide open. Take care and God bless.